Hello everyone, it's Jeff again, and today I'm coming to you from Baraboo, Wisconsin, and I have a couple of things that I would like to tell you about this little town. The first story I would like to tell you is about a runaway slave who ran away from his masters in Kentucky and ran as far north as he could to Baraboo, Wisconsin. And his life turned out vastly different than it would have if he had stayed in Kentucky. After John Duckins ran away, he ended up working as a cook on the freighters in the Great Lakes. And after he had managed to save up a little bit of money, he bought this house and 40 acres for $300. He lived here quite happily until the start of the Civil War, when he was drafted. Well, because he couldn't serve in the Union Army because he was black, he still had to give them $300 to find a substitute. So he ended up having to sell his house to pay the draft board, at which time he ended up back on the streets. After living on the streets for a while, he managed to save up enough money to buy a small buckboard wagon that he used to haul freight locally around Baraboo. Well, in 1884, his future changed drastically because a new industry came to Baraboo. That's when the 7 Ringling Brothers formed their own circus and came to Baraboo, Wisconsin. They decided what better place to have their winter grounds than Baraboo. It was at the very end, the terminus of the rail line, and they could store their rail cars there during the off-season. And so they built themselves a circus complex for the animals and for the circus performers to live in the off-season. I imagine it was quite a sight to see, to be at your local restaurant having a quiet lunch while a pack of elephants are led through the middle of town. It worked out so well. There was a number of other circuses that decided to make Baraboo their winter grounds. There was the Golmar Brothers and the John Robinson Circus, the Four Boss Circus, and Fun on the Farm, and William Depp's Classic Country Circus. They were the last to pull out in 1966. They also had the Excelsior Drugstore, which might have been the only place in America where you could also get drugs for African elephants and tigers. It was in business for 150 years. They also had facilities for repairing their wagons. Let's finish our story about John Duckins. Born a slave in Kentucky, worked the freighters in the Great Lakes as a cook, saved his money, bought a farmhouse, ended up losing the farmhouse, lived on the street, saved enough money to buy a small buckboard, and hauled freight around the local area for the circus companies, and did all right for himself. He finally died in 1894. Getting back to the Ringling Brothers, Al Ringling, here's his house, seems to have done pretty good for himself in Baraboo, but he also gave back quite a bit to the community. He thought they needed a theater and concert hall, so he had a little one built so they would have somewhere to gather and listen to music and watch a play. Nothing too fancy, mind you, just a place to get together with a few friends and hear a concert. The train depot in Baraboo was quite an interesting place, because I don't think there was very many train depots in America that had special people working there just to handle exotic animals, like African elephants. And they also had some pretty cool buildings, like this one built for horses. Or how about this one for African fowl? In the springtime, I imagine it was quite a sight when they hitched up all the animals and all the wagons and headed for the train depot for points unknown for the start of the circus season. Baraboo does have a circus museum, a museum dedicated to the fact that they were home to most of the American circuses during the winter season. And you can see the wagon that Pawnee Bill rode in. Or how about a golden shoe? It makes me very sad to think that they actually made animals live in something like this. How about an original wagon from the Cole Brothers Circus? And lots and lots and lots of the original rail cars. This is what it looked like in 1913, with room for elephants, rhinoceros, giraffes, every other kind of African creature you can think of, all in Baraboo, Wisconsin. It all came to an end after 1916. From that point on, it began to crumble. This house was owned by a gentleman who owned a local beer brewery, and he made an absolute fortune supplying beer to the circus workers. Those cream-colored bricks are from Italy. It's for sale if you want it, $1 million, and current estimates are around $6 million to restore it. Here are a few pictures of what Baraboo looks like today. It is a very picturesque town and some of the friendliest people on the planet. I am visiting here on my way to Cordele, Georgia. So, I will see you all again on another day. Be good to one another, think good thoughts, do good deeds, and I will see you again.
Shake it and break it. Thank ya. All right.